Welcome to Vital Living 55 Plus, a news and entertainment program for and about Takoma Park, Maryland residents age 55 and older. This program covers topics of interest along with interviews and presentations designed to educate and inform. Today we will discuss how arts and humanities enrich our lives and help us make sense of our world while broadening our experience and understanding. Literature, films, and visual arts transport us to different places and cultures and help us see ourselves and our community through a different lens. The arts strike a universal chord that suggests we are not alone in our experience of joy, grief, and courage. Several years ago, a cultural plan was developed by the Takoma Park Arts and Humanities Commission. The cultural plan offers guidance on the city's role in providing art programs and supporting our local artist community. In addition, it celebrates the rich mix of cultural expression through visual, literary, and performing arts and serves as a venue to showcase the creative talents of artists, lecturers, poets, and other performers. Today's first guest is Brendan Smith, the Arts and Humanities Coordinator for the City of Takoma Park, who will tell us about this important division of the Housing and Community Development Department and the many events and public art projects available to the community. Welcome, Brendan. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Could you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got involved with the Arts and Humanities Department in Takoma Park?
Yeah, I've been an artist for a long time, and my background's actually more in journalism, and so then I got interested in arts writing and then teaching some mixed media art, and then I heard about the job here as Arts and Humanities Coordinator, so I applied for that and have been enjoying working here a lot.
Oh, that's wonderful. Can you tell me some of the exhibits and art installations and programs that you've done recently or is going to be happening in the future?
Sure. So things obviously have shifted a bit because of the pandemic.
Right.
At the Community Center Auditorium, we've had dozens of concerts, film screenings, lectures, poetry readings, dance performances, and we also have art exhibitions here in the building. And so we had to put all of that on hold in our Takoma Park Arts series, and so now we're doing some events online where we're doing poetry readings, and film screenings online, which people can find on our YouTube channel. If you go to takomaparkmd.gov/arts, there's a link there to the YouTube channel, and you can find we've done some recent film screenings of old vintage films, of like Halloween horror films from the early 19th century.
Oh, no.
One about travelogue films, and we have one coming up in February of vintage civil rights films.
Oh, wonderful. Do you have any plans for a little further on in the future? Some of the things you've been working on that might take place?
Yeah, so then we have another poetry reading called This Is What Democracy Looks Like, which features several poets from the DC area whose work is being featured in a book with the same name. That should be on March 18th, I believe. Yes, March 18th at 8 p.m., which you can also find on the city's website, the link, and that'll be live. And then I'm working on several public art projects. That's another part of my job. So we're renovating B.Y. Morrison Park there at Takoma Junction, across from the co-op. And so we removed an old 28-year-old mural that had been installed there that was in bad shape, and we've installed a new chalkboard mural where an artist painted a design around a chalkboard area. So now kids can come, we'll have chalk erasers, they can come and draw, write, or grown-ups do, and so it'd be a way to get them out of the house, since so many of them are stuck at home with online learning, to give them something to do. And we've got some picnic tables there that we've painted and some stencils on the ground, like hopscotch and things like that, just to try to find another community space where people can get outside and get some air. So yeah, that's another thing.
That's wonderful. I've heard something about a poetry sidewalk contest. I know that's happening soon.
Right.
Hopefully, is that something that will continue on in the future?
Yeah, so we just started that, and it's based on a program in St. Paul, Minnesota, where they have a local poetry contest, and then they select sort of the winning pretty short poems, and then those poems get imprinted in concrete in new sidewalks. And it's just kind of an unusual public art poetry project where, you know, you're walking down the sidewalk and you happen to see a poem in a place that you wouldn't have expected it. And so we've started our own contest, and pretty much anybody who's a current city resident, whether you're a child or adult, can enter. The deadline's February 28th, and the winners will get a $100 award and then a chance to have their poem imprinted in a sidewalk, which we still need to figure out sort of where those will go, and it ties into obviously where new sidewalks are being built or existing sidewalks are being repaired. And you can find the online submission form again on the website. It's takomaparkmd.gov/arts.
Well, that's wonderful. So it's something people can enjoy in the future. They'll see those poetry there in the sidewalk, in the cement.
Yeah.
Great,
So
that's great.
And hopefully it'll last long time, since it's being imprinted in concrete.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to that too.
Now, if somebody doesn't have the ability to go online, can they contact you and ask about something? What's your phone number or your email address?
Sure. Email is probably the easiest. It's Brendan S., which is BrendanS at takomaparkmd.gov.
And a phone number they could?
Yeah, it's 202-531-1399. And so, yeah, if there's any questions about sort of arts programming or what we have coming up, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Well, that's great. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
I think that pretty much covers sort of what we've got going on right now. But when the pandemic restrictions are lifted and the community center reopens, then we'll be moving back here with some of the programs that I'd mentioned: poetry readings, film screenings, that kind of thing.
Next up, Brendan will introduce our next guest and discuss an important project to benefit veterans. Afterwards, please enjoy a montage of some of the past performances and exhibits in pictures and videos.
Hi, we're here with Cynthia Scott, Vice President of the Uniting Us Veterans Organization. Thanks for being with us, Cynthia.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
So tell us a little bit about Uniting Us and the work that you do.
So Uniting Us is a relatively new 501c3 nonprofit, and our core group is veterans and family members, and our mission is to promote art making as a mode of healing, as a mode of wellness. We find there's been a lot of studies, and as you know, the 22-a-day suicide rate, COVID hasn't helped anything for mental health, right? And it's clear that making something, it doesn't have to be a masterpiece, but just the idea of making art actually is a mode of wellness.
Mm-hmm. And so you do hear about a lot of problems with veterans returning from wars or from overseas deployments. How do you think art helps with some of those issues?
It's interesting. A lot of the veterans that are part of our Uniting Us program did come to art making as through art therapies to help them deal with post-traumatic stress, issues like that. And again, we're finding in general, especially during COVID, art making is useful. For the holidays, everybody in my family got colored pencils or markers or watercolors, and paper and stuff. It's a good way to work things out, actually.
Sure. And so do you run workshops or classes?
Well, we did a Zoom thing on oracle cards, a tarot reading and stuff like that, and looking at images and the meanings that are associated with tarot cards. We did an online class like that. But mostly we're doing, the primary things that we have been doing is art exhibitions. We had several online exhibitions, including the one with you guys.
Right.
One of my paintings sold through Takoma Park.
Yeah, congrats.
And and lovely that some of the funds went to Crossroads, a local food bank, which is marvelous.
Yeah.
But we've got other exhibitions lined up too.
Yeah, so we, for folks who didn't notice it or see it, we had an online Takoma Park holiday art sale with Uniting Us, and so some of your veteran artists sold work, and then some of the proceeds went to Crossroads Community Food Network to help them with their work.
That's right. So we've already got some extraordinary artwork up at Dulles Airport. Uniting Us has a 4-year memorandum of agreement with the Metropolitan Airports Authority. So they basically oversee Dulles and national airports here in the region. And already we've got 2 amazing pieces up. We're going to be putting some more artwork. They specifically have asked us to find women veterans artwork for March, Women's History Month. So we've got exceptional women veteran artists in our group, in our collective.
Great. And you're a veteran artist.
I
You've served in the Air Force. Tell us a little bit about your military background.
Well, I am a military brat. I grew up in the Air Force, so I guess I didn't have enough imagination to imagine another career. I did a 20-year career in public affairs with the Air Force, and I spent a lot of that time in the Pentagon.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Wow. Were you deployed overseas at all, or
I
were you always in D.C.?
I was deployed. I was deployed to the Pentagon actually right after 9/11. I was a reservist at that particular point in time. Mm-hmm. But earlier I had been deployed to Pakistan and Tehran in Saudi Arabia. This is really more the Charlie Wilson War era. You see, I'm a little older.
Okay.
And so I was over in Pakistan, Islamabad, bringing back wounded mujahideen, and doing filmmaking to document humanitarian efforts on the part of the Defense Department.
Wow.
And I was sent down to Panama during Just Cause when they got rid of Noriega. I was there for that. And they used to send me to Latin America a lot because I grew up, as a military brat, I grew up in Latin America.
Okay.
So I speak Spanish and I know how to dance salsa.
All right. And so what does Uniting Us, what do you have coming up?
Coming up are more exhibitions at Dulles and at national airports, we expect. Mm-hmm. And we are actually next week we're going to do a site survey at the Women's Memorial, which is at the ceremonial entrance of Arlington National Cemetery. Mm-hmm. It's a gorgeous venue, And we're talking about doing kind of a rotating art exhibitions from Memorial Day through Labor Day. You know, so we'll just have maybe some different themes over the summer, and certainly by August we're wanting to focus on military kids and do some events, some programs right there at the Women's Memorial.
Mm-hmm. Well, that sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
And so as far as veterans or people just starting to make art, do you find they sometimes think it's intimidating, or they have to do it a certain way, or how do you get people interested in it?
I think that, like, for example, my husband felt intimidated. I used my GI Bill recently, and I just finished up, like a year ago, I finished up a Master's in Fine Arts in Visual Art, and I did it up at Lesley University in Massachusetts. And we were going to New York City to look at galleries. This is all before the lockdowns. And he was like, do you think that's ugly too? And I'm like, yeah, I don't get it either. I mean, I think some people feel intimidated, but I don't know. I just think more exposure and expressing yourself in ways that are not necessarily verbal
Sure.
can be healing.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks so much for talking with us. We appreciate it. And so Cynthia Scott, Vice President of Uniting Us, and tell us your website.
Thank you. Our website is unitingus.org. So unitingus.org.
Great, and people can go there and check out some of the artwork. You can also buy some of the art by the veteran artists. So, thanks again.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
All right, thank you.
I want to thank you again for joining us today. And we're about to see a montage of clips and videos. Could you explain a little bit about that?
Sure. So we have a great camera crew who records all of our different arts events here at the Community Center. And so they put together some clips from some of our prior performances, dance, poetry reading, and concerts and just a little short clips to give people kind of a flavor of some of those events. And if you want to see the entire program, you can go to, again, to takomaparkmd.gov/arts. And then there's a link there to our YouTube channel, which has a really long URL. So that's probably the easiest way to get to it. And then we have just a list of all kinds of different prior performances that people can watch at home whenever they feel like it.
Well, that's wonderful. I think people will tune in and see that. So
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Okay, thanks again.
Each mind a universe, swirling as many details as yours, as much love for a humble place. Now the shirt is torn, the sea too wide for comfort, and nowhere to receive a letter for a very long time.
How many lives must be destroyed before someone, anyone shout to the mountaintop? No more silence, no more silence. How could we overcome if a promised dream is never realized due to a nightmare's reality that must end? And if no one is willing to step up, where does the change begin?
Soldiers of a new day, can't you see it? Can't you feel it in your heart?
We hope you enjoyed this glimpse into our popular arts and humanities program. For more information about anything presented in this program, please contact me at paulaL@takomaparkmd.gov or call 240-687-4132. Until next time, wishing you good health and happiness.